Hi, welcome. I was asked to do a small tutorial from a Facebook friend, and I thought I'd help out, and here we are. Alright, this is basically going to be a tutorial on how to paint your baby Groot. It could be any Groot, it doesn't really matter, any wood style of, like, creature. Alright, the first step, obviously, I've had to glue the arm because it broke, but anyway. The first step, what you have to do is obviously get all the any horrible bits down and tidy it up, which I've done the best I can. The next step is you're going to want to get a nice small container, some brown acrylic, just a small amount, you don't need loads, and then water. Put double the amount, actually no, put about 3 amounts of water to the amount of acrylic, so basically kind of like that. And then we get let's see, get a nice thick paintbrush like this, and dab it, and just mix it in so it's kind of, well, actually also the other thing is, the first thing you're going to need is a nice thing over something. I'm doing mine on top of my laptop because it's in the way, so, but my laptop's not expensive anyway, so, is to put something like that on it, just to protect your electronics. Alright, and then just mix it up, have another cloth at hand, and some sponge. Doesn't matter what sponge it is, it could be scraps, offcuts. Obviously you don't want to use dirty sponge with oils on. You want like clean sponge if it hasn't been used for paint. So, alright. So you should have like a nice muddy water colour. Then what you're going to do, you're going to just apply certain, well not certain, but all over the model, but only parts at a time, because what you're going to do, you're going to use sponge to quickly rub it off, or rub it in. Kind of works both ways, rub it in, rub it off, you know. So, might actually have a better piece here. It looks kind of weak, but that's okay, because we are going to do two coats, which I might actually put a bit more brown. So a little bit more brown. Alright. Double amount of brown. Forgot that water is does kind of water it down quite a bit. Right, let's try that again. There we are. Yeah, it needs to be kind of like soup. Not soup, gravy, that's it. I've also super glued this bit, and some of the outside of the super glue's not dry yet, so I'm kind of sticking my fingers together. Alright, let's see. So then you use your sponge again. I'm going to get a nice big bit and cut some off. I just use car auto sponges. Pay like 30p for them, big ones, and just cut them in pieces and use them. Turns out pretty handy. There we are. Alright, let that arm dry and repair. Alright, and then we do the same again all over the model. Like I said, we're doing two coats, so you won't have to worry about any light bits showing through, or any dark. I don't know how well these colours would work on any other colour other than wood, because I'm using wood PLA, but you could probably do it on others. It might not show up as good if you're using, say, purple or red or blue, PLA. But I like to use natural colours because Groot's like a wood-like creature, so So the aim is just to be gentle, rub some of this into the model, get the colour to just take to the surface. You don't need to saturate it. I mean, these models are pretty cool. I've seen all the ones on the Groot, and yeah, it's really, I mean, it's really taken off. So, I mean, you can use any paintbrush to paint at this stage, because this stage doesn't require sort of delicate hand work. Alright, not to forget, you need to massage that in and take off the excess, because you don't want it looking like you've just painted a brick wall with gloss paint. You want it to look like it's been stained, basically, because that's what we're doing. We're using the acrylic paint as a stainer because it is water based, and you can water it down so it works perfectly in this stage. Alright, let's see. Trying to make sure I be careful with that right arm, because I did kind of nearly snap it. So I mean, I've got my infill at 30%, but that arm didn't print very well this time. I don't know why. So, I mean, I'll do the head as well, but I'll have to do that in another video. Another thing as well, when you're painting, avoid painting these ends, because we're going to leave those as they are, because we want them to look like stumps. They're like when you cut a tree down, and they won't look like stumps if you paint them. And let's get this arm done. Finish him off with one layer, let him dry for like 10 minutes, and then we'll return and paint more. Now we have to stir the paint again because he's separating from the water and you'll have clumps, so you must keep that mixed. Alright, let's see. I think we've got that arm sorted. Yeah, you need to be careful about your fingers touching that. I won't worry too much about painting these bits, because like I said, but if you do, I won't worry too much, because we are going to use a wire brush. You will need a wire brush later. You know, I have to be careful about the arm with the wire brush, just because of the little crack it caused to his arm. Alright, let's get a bit more sponge. But like I said, we just want to make it so that his colour and shows through, but he also has his little wood effect show through. Using paint too thick can also kind of fill up the grooves in the design, and I don't like that, so I like to show the design through. Alright. Got a nice ugly line right across the middle. Seriously? Is that a crack? Well, looks like we've got a crack through the middle, but yeah, we'll sort that out in the next stage with another layer of paint. But yeah, anyway, so I'll see you in 10 minutes. Okay, we're back. So what we're going to do now is to get another cloth and dry this brush off from all the water that I just had it in. Alright, so we're going to apply another coat of brown. Try and mix it up better this time. I've used a little bit of wood filler. I got wood filler. I use a lot of wood filler on my models if I have gaps and stuff in them, and then sand them. So Used a bit of wood filler in the middle because I noticed there was a line. I think at one point I was printing it too hot. I've now realised that the temperature I want is 200°C, so I've kind of rectified that now. So I think it might be the line from that when I realised it was too hot, wasn't stringing. So live and learn. Alright, so we're going to do exactly what we were doing before and cover the whole model with a nice another layer of brown. Try and get everywhere on the model, not on yourself. I mean, it doesn't matter if you get it on your hands, it is acrylic paint, so it comes off after a while, so it isn't going to hurt you, so don't be afraid. Right, let's do the back. You might even have enough on the actual sponge after just to kind of blend it through. Right, let's get some more over here. I want to try and put not too much on this top of this arm because I'm not sure if it's still drying from the super glue. Alright, you see now we're getting a nice even coat, and it's actually starting to show through. So that's good, that's what we want. We don't want thick paint, you know, blobbing up all the gaps and detail. That would kind of ruin it. Alright, so we do this leg. Let's get some under the arm. Do the neck. Mustn't forget the neck. Let's do there. Alright, and leave the ends bare. Doesn't matter if you touch the paint with your finger and get it on the end, that's okay. You know, just don't intentionally paint it, because it will come into use later. The little bits of paint that gets into it will just look like character, so that ain't a worry, but you don't want to cover it all the way over, otherwise it won't look the part. Alright, so there we go, one more coat. So that's all the brown we're going to use on him, so I will pause the video again and I will see you in another 10 minutes. Okay, we're back. The next thing we've got to do is we have to black wash it. I know it sounds racist, but yeah, no, it's a mixture of acrylic and water. Same as the brown, but black. So you don't need lots of black because we're only doing one coat. So I use this brush and use some water. Actually, I wonder if I use a spray top. That should do. Alright, let's mix this in. You just want like a stainer, just black enough so it will show through, but like water soluble enough so that it will rub off. This is what we're going to use to change the colour of this dramatically, and maybe some extra sponge cut to remove the excess. Alright, let's see. Three nice pieces of sponge. Keep this one here. Alright, so let's start on the back. You don't want to paint it on all over, you just want to put a bit in a certain area and then just start rubbing. Just keep rubbing that in. Trying to get all the gaps. Alright, so that's the back so far. As you can see, it's got like a darker top, and then all the cracks have a darker like black to them. Alright, let's do that again. Maybe I should apply it to sponge. Might work better. You can use one sponge to put it on, one sponge to take it off. Just need to go careful on the arms because they are weak. It's the way they're printed, so they're always going to be weak. I think next time, it'd be kind of cool if you could actually set the infill to certain areas to be 100% rather than the whole thing to be 100%. Right, certain areas you can have a problem, so you want a dry brush, and just dry brush it, and get into those cracks, like under the arms, and maybe have a little bit on there, not too much, because you've got to take it off. So alright, let's remove what we just put on. Let's do his fingers. It might be tempting to leave gaps when you're painting it. You don't want to do that. You want to let the sponge do that, because like I said, after we've let this dry, we're going to take a white brush to it. That will do that trick for us. So we don't want to intentionally leave brown bits showing. That will come through when we use the white brush on it. It will come through naturally. Alright, let's see. So, let's start the front. Let's put a bit of this on here. Your fingers are going to get covered. I mean, that's just part of life. It's just going to happen. But I mean, there's nothing a bit of soap and hot water can't clean off. I mean, we're not 3 years old, we're not scared of water. I hope not. Right, careful about the cloth. You don't want paint going everywhere, that would be a disaster. It's amazing how easy you can achieve an effect just by watering down paints and using sponges and cloths just to rub the paint back off. I mean, you still get some paint left on, but that's kind of what you want. You don't want, you want to just basically, you can dab it, but I mean on a model this intricate, it's going to be hard. So I think we've got a leg to do and then the right arm. So and then we'll see what it looks like. And after we've had that dry for 10 minutes, we have to use some green. It's up to you what colour green you want to use. I usually use the big pot of green I got open first, and such things for moss. I mean, you can use all sorts of things for moss. I mean, I've in the past used a bit of sponge, super glued it on, and then dabbed over it in green, and that's looked pretty cool. But I mean, I found the simplest things look the best. So just do it simple, you know, don't overcomplicate it, because then it looks too much. Right, I think this arm's getting stronger because I've just managed to press down on it a little bit too hard that I didn't want to do, and he hasn't broken, so that was lucky. Alright, maybe I'm applying a bit too much black right now, but it's all good. It will come off later, if not now, so. But you want like you don't want like a new tree look, you want an aged tree. A tree that looks like it's got moss, black bits over it, you know, like old. It's been there for centuries, and also sometimes being abused, you know. You want one that's going to look good. So if it's going to look the part, then yeah, that'll look cool. So alright, I think we've got him. A little bit of black here, just dab him in. Let's clean the paintbrush off. I don't want to end up using the the sponge now. I want to cover these light brown bits up so they stay dark. And then I'm going to dab it just a bit. So I'm taking too much off the, there we are. That's nice and dark. Right, I think he's coated. I'm not too worried about in here, although I will give him a little, you know, on the edges, a little dab of black, just so that when the head goes on later, he looks the part. Alright, so that's what you should end up with. Kind of coated in black, but you can still see the mahogany colour underneath, you know. And the next, what we'll do, let's see if we can do it now. I think it might be a good idea to do it now. We've got, I'm not sure if I got it over here. Give me a sec, I'll just go and get it. Right, stuff everywhere. Right. It's up to you what you want to use. They're going to use this with the original brown. You'll obviously have some left over. Depending on what shade you want. I want a lighter brown, so I'm going to go for white. Only, actually maybe a bit more. There we go. Let's about that. Right, let's mix this up. Because we don't want this the same colour as the other brown. We want it like a different shade. Because this is for the stump legs. Alright, then what you want to do is use your original brush. I'm using this because it's like a nice thick brush. This, you don't want it all on there. Let's try and get something black in the mix. Alright. And then just dab around the edges of this, just so it looks like a ring. You'll see why we do this after. And then you should have a whole ring around the edge, just around the edge. Don't do over, just do in. Alright, and then you do again on here. I mean, his feet is touching the ground most of the time, and if you think of it, a tree stump, when you cut it, it's going to be soggy and wet at the bottom, so that's kind of natural. Alright, so then you've got it like that. The next thing I want to do, let's see, we've got a little bit of dark brown on the edges still, so we want a bit of that, and we want to do it in the middle, so just a nice little dab in the middle like that. Alright. Right now, that might look too much, but in 10 minutes I'll show you what it'll look like once we've used a wire brush on this model. Okay, the next step, as he's dry, and hopefully he is, we are going to get, I've got more ordered, so I've only got this one. A wire brush. I'm going to move my glass with the water in out of the way so I don't knock it over my desk. Put those scissors back. Alright, so we're going to get just a wire brush, doesn't matter what wire brush it is, obviously you want a small one so you can get into gaps. And we're going to start on the front. We're just going to do this. You can go in a circle motion if you like. get right in there with the wire brush. And just give it a good rubbing out with it. Be careful though that you don't squeeze the model too much, because you don't want to break the arms or the legs off. Alright, as you can see in the middle we've got the dark spot, and then we've got the edges, and now it's kind of come down a bit. Maybe it was a bit too dark actually in the middle. It's not a problem though, just keep working at it. There we are. And then we do the same to the other one. I mean, you could use sandpaper, but sandpaper is probably a bit too abrasive. You only want to rub away a top layer of the paint, you don't want to take all the paint off. Alright, so then we're going to start on the legs. Try and get somewhere where you're not going to break the legs off. See, if I bring you a bit closer, I could have to lean over then. How's that? There we are. So if we just... There we are, you can see in the middle of the leg it's starting to come through. Just have to be careful about our arm. We don't want to whack his arm off. Sometimes these brushes are okay, but they're still a bit bulky. In certain spaces you can't get a wire brush in. So it also makes it matte, which looks better when you spray it over like a plastic coat, which is what I use. Alright, it's not looking bad. Alright, let's do this hand. Let's try and get those fingers so they look like they've been worn down a little. Alright, nice. Let's do his stomach and his groin. That's gotta be painful. Oh, look at that brown coming through. Nice. Alright. Like I said, just make sure you're careful with the arms. You don't want to break the arms off. I mean, you can get small brushes like this on eBay and Amazon, so don't have to use big ones. I mean, I'm buying a set of 6 for like £3 off Amazon. Prime delivery. Or it will be tomorrow. Nice. Don't be too afraid to get the light material through from the plastic. All that will do will just give it character. As after all, I mean, if you're doing it in a wood colour over a red or a blue or green, well not green, but like a bright colour, then obviously you don't want to bring that through. But if you're not and you're using, you know, a different sort of plastic like I am, like wood effect, then you know, go ahead, you know, have fun. It won't matter too much because, like I said, it just adds character to the model. Ow. You also want to be careful about not getting yourself little wire bristles, because that hurts. I mean, sometimes I think maybe a wider brush would have been better, but not as long. So and then just do a little bit at the top. Also, this is good because if you've got paint in all the little crevices, you know, the woodwork that looks like bark, then this will get it out. Just make sure the paint's fully dry because you don't want to end up doing it when it isn't. Flick paint everywhere, it will make such a mess. But yeah, see, you can kind of see like the what's it called? Not sure if my light is very good. I mean, there's a lot of glare, but you know, you can kind of see the brown through the black better. It kind of looks not mahogany, but aged, you know. So, but yeah, alright. So then when we've done that, because we weren't painting it, we can move straight on to the next stage. That green moss. I don't need that. I just realised I used the pot. So you want to select yourself a nice paintbrush. No, I want to. There we are. You want a paintbrush kind of like this, but with stiff bristles, because you don't want lots. Actually, I might need that actually. So you want to get a little bit of paint and then just dab it on there like that. Spread it out and get as much off the brush as possible. Okay. So the next step you're going to do is just dab around the edges, just to make it look like mold. Well, not, yeah, mold, moss, you know. Don't be too afraid. It is, after all, just for fun. So, right, let's get it here. There's a bit more paint on there. Move that out of the way. It's perfect. Right, you can brush it on too, because you're going to use a wire brush after anyway, to once it's dry, just to get it down. But what we're going to do, get a sponge. I'm just using one of these sponges. You could use these, and just dab it. That's all you got to do. Just dab it and rub it. You know, dab, rub, you know. Just ever so faintly, just so it leaves a trace of green behind. And then move on to the next one. And then do the same with that. You only want it in the not middle. You only want a green on the edges of these feet, because otherwise it looks too. It looks too much otherwise. So. Alright, so it's not looking too bad. Alright, so next what we're going to do is get some more green. And let's see, we find some areas like you see you got a bit here, so we're going to follow that around with some green all the way to the backbone of his bum, like that. And then what we're going to do is sponge again and just dab it and rub, dab and rub. You'll get green into other parts, but that's okay, because when you get moss, it actually, you know, it's at an uncontrollable sort of growth rate. So I mean, it's not exactly as if it's going to look like it's been painted man-made, you know. Let's go up to his neck, like that, and do the same again. do some on his arms. Sometimes these paintbrushes are too bloody long. Like I said, you need to dab it. So if you've got your own rule, just go across the top and just take this down to his little pinky. There we are. Alright, so again, you just press and rub. Careful pressing and rubbing on the arm, because again, they are printed against the grain, or actually no, they go with the grain, which is unfortunate, you know, the printer, which kind of makes them weak, no matter how much info you put in. We need something over here, so we're going to give him, there's actually a nice bumpy bit here, so we're going to take advantage of that, and make that green. Let's do some on his chest, just so we've got a little bit on the front. Let's take this middle bit down, right down the middle, and we're going to go left, down here, and merge it with that last bit we did. We need a smaller piece, we got some here, and just rub it again. See, that's not the best bit of sponge we got. It's kind of crap. It's got loads of black on it still. Alright. God's sakes. Yeah, you gotta be quick about this, because this is neat acrylic, and it dries quick when it's not watered down. So here we are. That's looking better. You don't want it too thick. You want it looking like you want it just so you can barely see it. Well, not barely, but just enough, so it doesn't look too much. Just get a paintbrush, just so we can spread that in the leg area out, because we've got quite a bit in there. Let's do that too. Alright, that's alright. Okay, that arm's done. Let's do this arm. Yeah, that noise in the background, you can hear, it's my printer going off, if you can hear it. He's doing the head right now. I've got 2 more printers coming tomorrow finally, after waiting for technology outlet to deliver them. I mean, they were getting them in stock, so, but I mean, he did say if I waited, he'd upgrade the printer from the D4X to the D4S, so that ain't too bad. I got that coming in with a i3 Plus. I like the quality the i3 gives, so I didn't see any point upgrading to her or anything else other than one hose, I'm happy with that. I mean, I'm not fussy. Happy with what I can get, so I don't need everything, so I've heard people say on posts, why didn't you go for Cruiser? Well, I mean, for me, the one hose seems pretty rigid because of that metal, it's mainly built out of metal, whereas the Cruiser kind of has one piece of metal, and that is the C-frame, in the middle, and it doesn't have any proper gantry strength in that. So, and then when you get the upgrade, that gets mounted to the metal, C-frame. So again, it's weak, But I don't know. I'm happy with what I got. I like it. It brings good results. So, I mean, it is only a hobby. Keeps me busy, gives me stuff to do. So, starts me going from out of my mind. Right, I think we'll give him a bit more on this leg, because it's kind of looking a bit bare. Alright, that's not looking too bad. Let's touch him up over here. That's what she said. Alright, maybe a wrong joke for the wrong time, but there we are. And for now, that is the body completed. until we get the head. We do the same to the head. For the eyes we use watered down black acrylic, and I'll use one of my I think they're called Taclon brushes. So, and I got like a really fine head. I've got 4 of these. I got more ordered as well. And I will carefully do the eyes once I've finished doing all this to it, and the moss, you know. Once I've done all that, I will then go over it outside with plastic coat, so, which is brilliant. It's a plastic sealer. So, but anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video, guys. I hope this has helped you, and if you need any help, just message me, or yeah, just ask about what advice I can give. I don't mind, you know. So I like helping members. So, but yeah, thanks for watching, and bye bye. Happy printing.